And we're recording. Welcome back to episode 4 of a podcast. And today we again are joined by
Anna.
Yeah. Because definitely not our 30-second take because of messed up intros. Okay.
Oh God.
So today I think we're going to be discussing not being able to talk properly.
Oh yeah. I've been taking a Spanish class online because of the pandemic, and taking a foreign language in real life, not so bad. Taking it online for somebody like me with social anxiety, not the best because I am required to record myself, like a video of me talking to myself on a computer. I mean, I guess I'm kind of doing that right now, but we'll ignore that. But I don't know. I hate it. It's just so awkward. It takes me like 30 times to just record something decent. And the whole time I'm like flabbergasted and my face is red and I don't know, man. It's not fun.
I think before I recorded the first episode, I was going to do it alone, or trying to give myself an idea of what it was going to be like whenever I made this podcast, or whenever I do anything really, because I might branch out more than just this eventually. Not saying that I'm going to do that immediately, but whenever I first got the mic, I think it was when I first got the microphone, I'm like, okay, welcome to episode 1. I don't like that. Let me just delete that. Okay, so how's it gonna go? Welcome to. Why did I say welcome like that? And it's
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But I mean,
you go first.
No, you go ahead because I know. I think I know what I'm gonna say.
I don't even remember what I was gonna say anymore. Oh yeah. I just try not to think about it too much. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I don't care anymore.
And I think I have a similar experience because when I was still in school, I took Chinese for 2 or 3 semesters, something like that. I think it might have just been 2. Because when I was taking the second level, I saw the book for the third level, and I'm like, you know what? That kind of looks complicated, and I'm passing. I think I ended up with like a 92, but like, I'm
That's
like,
good.
I don't want to enter something. Let me try to quickly explain. English and Spanish, you can sort of tell the similarities because of the lettering.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, imagine English and Chinese. It's like,
oh my gosh, it's completely different letters.
Yes. Not even letters, it's symbols that mean different things, and a different line means a completely different word, and it's just disastrous.
I think they're further apart from each other in like the language family tree.
Mm-hmm.
I know I took German in high school, and that wasn't too bad because I think German and English both come from like the same like root language. I don't know. But except for the grammar, because like in Spanish you can kind of tell with like gendered I guess nouns. Yeah, gendered nouns. You can tell for the most part what, gender it is based on how it's spelled. German, you literally just have to memorize it for every single word.
And
I hate that.
That's sort of how Chinese was. And the thing for me is, I memorize, I'm like, okay, this word is this symbol. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily this is how it's supposed to be said. It's more like this is that. And whenever we had to take tests and stuff like that, I'd be like, okay, that symbol is that word. And that's the only way I would sort of, because they'd give us a paragraph, so to as an example. That's what I think we did. They'd give us a paragraph, and we'd have to read it, and then answer the questions, but the questions were in English. But we'd have to answer it in Chinese, and it's almost like I use context clues. I'm like, this word is that. Let me look
Yeah.
through the paragraph. That's that. Let me copy it down here. And then I looked into the book for Chinese 3, and I'm like, why are the questions in Chinese? Like, that, like, then I can't even use context clues because it's complicated. And I think the questions were in Chinese, and we'd have to answer in English. So, like, it would have messed up my strategy.
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? They said 2 to graduate, 2 languages. I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get you. My sister's actually taking Chinese at the same school right now. So, and it's online. So,
Yikes.
yeah.
You
I
can't.
don't know. She's wanting to drop it and change if she can, but I don't know if it's too late.
Honestly, I think it's too late. But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think it's that difficult to begin with, because I think I didn't really struggle that much until 2.
Mhm.
Then again, I was in person, but like there isn't much. Like I imagine it would be the same under a virtual
Well,
learning.
I think they have some video calls, so that will probably help.
Yeah, I think that'd be the best option. And I
She
remember,
told me that and no shade to anyone who, likes anime and stuff. My sister loves anime, but she was telling me that there's like a bunch of like anime lovers and like K-pop fans in a Chinese class, and she just thought it was funny because it's not Chinese, but
yeah, I, I imagine somebody who doesn't have a full understanding is like, ah, yes, I'm gonna take Chinese because that's what I watch, and then they take it and they're like, yeah, it's a little different.
yeah, it's very different. I mean, like same kind of area of the world, but still very different.
Uh-huh. And when you were talking about how you had to record yourself making videos,
Hmm.
I think I was fortunate enough to. Oh, video wise, I'll get to that in a second. But I did have to record myself audio wise, even in like while I was in school. Like
Hmm.
whenever we had it in.
Oh yeah, you took a film or whatever.
Yeah, but when I took Chinese,
Hmm.
we had well, well, since I don't know what we're gonna discuss, let me jot that down, because I wouldn't mind getting into my video experiences.
Hmm.
Very what's the word, narcissistic. But then again, I have a podcast named after myself, so
Very true.
um, and I guess people are listening to hear what I have to say, and I guess now you as well, because by the looks of things, you're here.
Yes,
Well, not
for a
here,
good while.
here, but
Yeah,
you're people
I'm
are,
here in spirit.
yes. Um, so I had to record in person. I had to record myself speaking and then just go to no. I think we had to turn in through Google Classroom. I'm like, for a second, for a second, I thought it was record ourselves, walk to the teacher, and press play.
Hmm.
But that makes no sense.
So did you have to turn the camera on?
Well, not for like speaking sentences. What we did have to do was head, shoulders, knees, and toes in Chinese
Oh
and
my god.
film ourselves.
Why? They had to you had to do the dance on camera?
Yes.
It's a little degrading as a
And
high schooler.
yes, and not only that, but we had to do it in partners, and I had a close friend who eventually moved away. We haven't been in contact, but we recorded ourselves together. And keep in mind, not only did we have to record ourselves, for example, for you, I'm guessing it's
Hmm.
you record it, turn it in, only the teacher watches.
Nope, nope. It
No?
was for the whole class in a big group chat. And I'm
Oh.
like, why? That's what made it so awkward. I don't know any of these people.
Oh.
It was like I was recording a vlog.
Well, whenever we had to do it, I knew it was only going to be the teacher who was going to watch. I think, at least, I don't remember
You're
exactly.
so lucky.
Um, Oh, but not really because we did it in the middle of a busy hallway
Oh,
during class time.
I
So
see.
imagine we had the phone. I think we used my friend's phone far away from us, so
Mhm.
obviously get our whole stature and everything, like so they could see us because we can't do toes with a camera like through 6 inches
Yeah.
from us. So we had to put it far away, walk back, and then start speaking Chinese while pointing at our toes. Very fun.
Yeah.
And I don't recall, but I'm pretty sure people must have been watching.
So did people like have to do it in groups, or were there some people who did it alone?
I think it was in groups. I'm not 100% sure. Might have been individually, but honestly, I can't remember. I
Because I
think
was thinking, like, imagine like the class F boy, like just alone
uh,
in his room, like doing that and posting it for everyone.
uh, uh,
Hold on, I think my grandmother's calling me. Can you like pause it or something?
yeah, I'll give it a pause. And we're back because I was able to pause it so I didn't have to do any editing later. Yay for me.
Yay.
Which I guess in a way is kind of good that we redid the intro. That way
Yeah,
it's less work for me to do. And
very.
I think for the last episode, for the macaroons, I think it's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Since I had to listen to that, look it up and everything to find a picture and stuff like that, it's stuck in my mind now. So I think for this episode, I'm just gonna do as minimal editing as possible to save myself some time and possibly get this out by tomorrow.
Cool.
Um, I forgot where we were, but
Uh, Recording ourselves.
yeah, I just forgot like exactly where things left off. Um,
I don't know.
well, things left off when they were calling you, but that's not exactly what I. um,
It
but
was shoot something with oh the head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
oh yeah, it's just not the most exciting thing to be doing in front of people who are skipping class and stuff like that because it
Yeah,
was during class time. But you know that there's like a lot of open space in the campus, and well, a lot of people don't go to class.
very true.
Um, but when you mentioned video experiences, and I did take all of the video courses given at the school,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up getting a cord for passing the pathway, for completing the pathway, and some sort of certificate in uh, engineering, or not engineering, but like video production.
That's cool. Did you do anything like with audio, like with mics and stuff?
uh, uh, Kinda at the time. Well, let me try to explain the whole backstory of that video class, which has a lot. So I think this episode is gonna we're gonna have to kill the idea of comedy and push that to another date because it gets long.
Okay.
Um, and comedy by itself is a long topic. So
Yeah.
I think that's gonna have to be its own thing. So there, at the time there were 3 video classes, like three levels of it, and whenever I took the first 2, it was with all 3 were with one teacher, but the first 2 were actually with him. And I think it was my second year doing video. Whenever the school soccer team was like, "Hey, can you?" Well, not to me. They sent an email to a teacher asking if he could find anybody to record the games for them. And I think he first got the email while I was in his class,
Mm-hmm.
like during that class period. And he asked if anybody was interested. Nobody was, and then I just looked around, and then afterwards I'm like, "Yeah, did you find anybody who'd be interested?" He's like, "No, the teacher's over there, blah blah blah." but the soccer story could possibly be in a little bit. But I was with one teacher, and a lot of people said he really didn't know how to teach.
Oh.
I mean, he did know how to teach, but it was like when I was taking the second class, it was like the most basic things,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no microphones, no anything like that. So it's like super basic, and I'm like, people didn't want to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, uh, I'm finished with my project, but there's still like 3 weeks left because people aren't getting it done, or maybe a week left. So
Mm-hmm.
what I used to do was, well, the teacher used to say, don't plug anything into the computers or anything like that, and it gets short circuit them or something. I don't have any idea what it could have been that he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but because I was finished early, I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to do. I'd plug my phone into the computer and just so it could charge, and then just watch shows. But I mean, what's he gonna say? Get back to work. I'm finished. I was
Yeah.
always finished ahead of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for about 2 semesters. It was 1 year I took one, another year I took another, and I was on my whenever I took the third level, the school athletic director, I think,
Mm-hmm.
uh, asked my friend if he wanted to record videos, um,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
yeah, for the athletic department, and
Yeah. My sister actually took what's it called? I guess sports marketing or something.
that's exactly what it was.
Yep. And she had to. Well, I think it might have ended up getting canceled or something. I don't know. She said they didn't do too much work in that class.
Well, the thing is that I'm not sure if you ever, you know where you took your online classes
Uh,
in
you mean
that
yeah,
building?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did by any chance did you ever go into any of the other rooms?
Yes, if like one or two of them.
Did you?
The one with all the computers.
Yes, you went into that one,
Mm-hmm.
like the big room with like a cubicle style.
Yep. I had one of my classes was in there temporarily.
And you know how there was another room in there?
Yes.
Okay, so
Wait, yeah, I remember there was always like video equipment in there.
yes. So the first two classes I took were in that small room in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the third class, but while I'm doing that, instead of doing that work or something like that, I would just do sports marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my friend who had the same class at the same time, like we both had audio video 3, but we
Mm-hmm.
were both doing sports marketing. We'd meet once a week, and we're like, okay, I think what I ended up doing was I'm gonna get highlights from the year before for the soccer team because I think I concentrated on soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot if it was boys or girls. I think for a while I was supposed to do basketball, but I went to like maybe no, I was supposed to go to one thing, but I think it got canceled. Something happened. I ended up not doing basketball at all, or it was towards the end of the season. So I was doing video and sports marketing. Give me 1 second. I think I forgot to start something. Okay, there I am. And I was doing both at the same time, just meeting once a week. And then I'm like, okay, I think what I should do, make a highlight video, possibly hyping up I think it was going to be the first game or first home game, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'll get footage from last year, put it all together, put it on the website. Keep in mind, the athletic director got me and my friend to do video.
Mm-hmm.
The sports website of the school is not video compatible.
What?
Yes.
That's weird.
So whenever I tried uploading it, it's like, yeah, the file is too large. It
Wait,
can't.
so you could only like upload audio of a
You can only
sports
upload.
game?
You can only upload pictures,
What?
and we're doing
Boring.
video. So
Bruh.
guess what ended up happening?
It got canceled.
No, we were
What?
still. So while we did our sports marketing, my friend and I had access to the big room.
Mm-hmm.
It was just me and him. We had the room to ourselves,
Oh.
and because we were doing something different, we didn't want to interrupt the people learning the third level course
Mm-hmm.
while me and him were doing video for something different. I hope this does not get my credentials taken away, because it shows that I wasn't in the class, but I still passed it. But I'll get to why in a second, or not literally in a second, but still. Um, well, we eventually just, I think, stopped going to the meetings, to the Monday meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And what we ended up doing was, what my friend ended up doing was um, watching movies on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, I should probably do a little more than just watch movies. So I think I started watching shows and writing shows.
Oh, okay.
I think I might have watched a few shows. Like, honestly, I can't remember, because
Uh,
once in a while I think I prefer a bit more shows than movies, because it shows extend the plot a bit longer than movies.
yeah.
Uh, but that's its own thing.
I thought you were gonna say, maybe I should like do some work or something, but like I'm
Well,
gonna start watching shows instead of movies.
um, I did start writing scripts though,
That's cool.
and that ended up saving me,
Dang.
because we were in our own room, and instead of going to the other teacher, and because what the teacher wanted to do, keep in mind this is third level, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was teaching them how to film in reverse and how
Okay.
to make transitions.
TikTok.
So it's like, I mean, yeah, it was ahead of its time with that aspect, but it's like,
Yeah.
um, it's basic stuff for a third level course.
Mm-hmm.
And one day the teacher was like, all right, can you guys send me what you've done so far, so he can give us a grade based on that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my, luckily I wrote all these scripts and at least made like one or two videos
Yeah.
uh, to promote that, because he's like, all right, turn something in. He's like, turn anything in so I can give you a grade. I'm like, nice. And I think for my like script for show and like 2 or 3 videos got me 100. Like
Dang.
for like he's like video editing 300 and stuff like that. And I'm like, look at that.
Dang.
um, but what else happened in there? Oh, so I'm in the final course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher's gonna retire that year.
Aw.
So he I think since when I started, it was like he knew he was gonna retire, so like maybe that's why he didn't care.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like he's retiring. The new teacher who's gonna replace him comes in. And sort of like he keeps coming in and out, like to bring his stuff in already, to
Mm-hmm.
move in, like if it was house a few months ahead of time, because he had a lot of stuff, but he was really passionate about video. And he's the teacher who was gonna replace him was like, I created this website, not a website. He either created or had access to test preparation.
Oh.
Because in order to pass, like I could pass the class, But you know how there's like major summatives after the what's it called, like, or a major test after, like, to end the class.
Yeah.
um there was going to be one to end the pathway.
Oh.
And while the teacher was teaching basic editing and stuff, the new teacher came in. He's like, this is how things are going to run. This is how well, not how they're going to run, because I mean we were on in our last year.
Mhm.
Oh, and that reminds me, let me jot this down. Second level uno. Well, we were doing that. Well, me and my friend were over there. He wasn't teaching them anything. The new teacher who was gonna replace him came in and was like, "Here's this material." And since we were done with, we were no longer doing sports marketing. We're like, might as well get this started. And imagine having a test
Mhm.
and or like a quiz, and you had to do it, and you could redo it as much as possible.
Mhm.
So what we did was like, all right, go through it once, see what we got wrong. Because keep in mind, this is like, what cable would be needed for this? What's this? What's that? And I'm like, we never learned any of this. The
Hmm.
teacher always threatened with, if you guys don't do your work, we'll go to the books. I think going to the books would have helped,
Yeah.
but we never did. So
Uh-oh.
whenever he's like, this is what you're gonna need to do. Not only was it cables, but it's like, it was talking about makeup, what layer goes first and stuff like that.
Wait. Makeup of the film, right?
No, like makeup of the face.
Wait. So like for like film, like
Yeah,
makeup on people.
yeah,
Wait. Y'all didn't learn about that though.
exactly.
I mean, you know, maybe girls would know that, but like anyone who doesn't wear makeup isn't gonna know,
Uh-huh.
you know.
So what we ended up doing is, I'm like, okay, I went through it. I think it was like 50 something quizzes, and we
Mhm.
had like 3 weeks to do it, maybe more. I don't remember. Um, but it was like, what I ended up doing first was like going through it, doing it over and over until I memorized it. But then I saw, if I open the quiz in a new tab and leave the old one there, I could retake it and just go back to the old answers.
Mhm.
And since they were the same questions, I kept getting them right. I'm like, all right, let me sort of take a basic guess of what things are. If it's too long for me to read, I'll just click random answer, and then just go to the next question, and then get my score, and do it again. So I wouldn't say it's cheating, because we could have done it as many times as we wanted,
Mhm.
and well, yeah, we could do it as many times as we wanted to get the best grade we wanted. So
Mhm.
I'm like, this isn't cheating. This is using my resources. Um, and that ended up helping me because I could do it a lot faster.
Mhm.
So I think because not only were me and my friend doing it, the people in the actual class stopped their video stuff to learn that stuff because it was needed for the end of pathway exam. Um,
Mhm.
and I'd walk in, I'm like, finished with 17, and I'm like, got 100. He's like, all right, 100 on 17, wrote that down. He's like, how come some of you guys haven't even started the first one? Some of you guys haven't even started the second one. Then I just walk away. I'm like,
Oh my gosh. Oh my, that's
um,
awkward.
well, I mean, while they were doing that, me and my friends were still in the other room. So,
Oh my gosh.
and we were sat on the wall,
Mhm.
where, like, if we were to walk straight down, like got up from our computer and walk straight down, we would walk into the other room. Like, we were on that wall.
Mhm.
Um, so whenever he'd come out, we would see him and be able to switch what we were doing.
Bruh.
That was before, obviously, the testing stuff, but
Yeah.
it was a very exciting class. And I remember during the, I think, no, was it during the second level? I think it might have been during the second level. Honestly, I think it might have been. I can't remember. Second or
Mhm.
third level. Um, it might have been third. Like I said, no, I'm pretty sure it was the third level because me and my friend were in the other room, and other people were would go to the teacher's room. They were his workers. I forgot how there's work-based learning, which I ended up doing with the teacher who came in. I'll get to that in a second. Again, I apologize to anybody listening and to you because I'm making it about me. But
No,
then
you're
again, like I said, this is what this is. It's
very
me
true.
speaking. Um, so I think it was during the third level. He had his workers, and they'd go in, get their paperwork signed, and then go into the room where they had the like old TV production equipment. Like when I say old, I mean imagine what a behind the scenes of a like 80s 90s show would be like with
Mhm.
like 8 or 9 TVs so you can be able to play the VCRs back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a few DVDs. It was that, and then off to the side a bit more modern equipment, and they'd be in there. And they also had a sound studio,
Mhm.
and the people would go in there. They would watch videos and just sit there. I'm like, I want to do this, and I would go in with them every once in a while. We'd play Uno and stuff like that. So that's also something I did during my third level. As you can see, I got very educated. Like I learned a lot about video production during that year.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know much about makeup anymore or a lot of cables, but I know basic stuff. I know how to zoom in and out. Um, but they ended up leaving, and then it was just me and the other guy and a few other people who were more into like, if you were to ask them what film is the best film of all time, blah blah blah, they'd give you an old film and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get you.
I was never really much of a well, not even yet. I'm still not a big old movie person.
Mhm.
I prefer a bit more modern stuff. I think
Yeah, I'm the same way.
one of the best older movies I've seen would be The Dark Knight.
Oh, yes. I learned about that in my film appreciation last year. And I didn't know that like they used as little what's it called? Like special effects
Uh-huh.
as possible.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Like the explosion was real
Mhm.
and like the truck flipping and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've,
that was awesome.
I've seen clips of how that was done before I even watched the movie, but like years before. But like that's what I would consider an old movie.
Yeah. I mean, like I can appreciate older films for like what they've done,
Uh-huh.
but I think it's just hard for me personally to relate to some older films because things are so different now.
And I guess you could appreciate them because by the sounds of it, you had to in your
I mean,
film
yeah, for my
appreciation class.
class. And
Um,
I can like analyze them and stuff, but
mhm.
it's not exactly, in general, something I would, immediately think of to watch for fun.
Uh-huh. And I also, because of my me wanting to do things in video and media production and stuff like that, whenever I watch stuff, I also pay attention to like background extras
Hmm.
and stuff like that. My dad was watching a show not too long ago. I'm like, why did that actor walk across the screen twice? Like left to right, and then all of a
Uh-huh.
sudden they switch angles left to right, and I'm like, that's like one of the simplest things to do. You moved right, stay right.
Yeah, I bet you notice a lot of stuff in films that people who haven't taken classes like that probably wouldn't notice.
Yeah, and my sister doesn't like it, and she's not in here right now. But I told her, I'm like, I'm gonna talk about you today. Um, which I'll play this clip for her. But I can't watch anything with her. Like, she doesn't
Mhm.
like me analyzing things.
Yeah, I bet you like point out a bunch of stuff and probably ruin it for her.
Yeah, that's what she claims. She's like, stop ruining it for me, blah blah blah. I'm like, but come on, they could like just.
You're breaking the immersion.
But then again, it's like when I watch my own shows, I'm like, oh, I like they do such a good job acting. I forget that they're acting.
Hmm.
Like the stuff that she watches, I'm like, oh, you can tell that they're in it for the paycheck, but that's
You're
it.
pointing out all of the flaws and what the
Yeah.
film she likes.
Mhm. But even when I praise the movie, for example, I think not too long ago, while she was doing schoolwork, she puts on shows in the background for background noise. She had
Literally, how? I don't understand how people do that. I mean, honestly, props to her for being able to focus.
I think it helps her focus.
That's
Like,
so weird. I guess
yeah.
I'm too ADHD for that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, even for me, when I was whenever I had my leave of absence from this podcast and other stuff, I played on my Switch for a bit, and I'm like, you know what? I was playing what was it, Rocket League, and I'm like, I need some music to get me in the mood. And like, instead of listening to whatever I had to play car engines, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna put music for the background just because it
Mhm.
gets me into the mood. But she was watching. Oh, she was listening to. So I would say because, like I said, she's not watching. She's
Yeah,
not even listening.
it's just
In
background
she's
noise.
in the atmosphere of the movie. She was watching High School Musical,
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, well, I was looking. I'm like, that's interesting. Like I was looking at background stuff and stuff like that. And she's like, stop, you're ruining it. Or no, I don't think she even said that because I was being quiet. I was just analyzing it in my head.
hmm.
And then the ending came up, and it's like, I think it was produced by Kenny Ortega. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Kenny Ortega. You might be like, who's that?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
And that, I was watching Michael Jackson's This Is It, the, I guess, semi documentary about what was going to be his last tour or
Uh-huh.
set of concerts. And I think not the choreographer, but I think no, Kenny Ortega was the choreographer of High School Musical, but
Oh,
he was the producer behind what was going to be the This Is It tour
oh
or
my
set of
gosh.
series. I'm like, oh my goodness, Kenny Ortega. I recognize the name. I'm like, Kenny Ortega. Like I doubt there's many people with that name.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I said it out loud. I'm like, look, it's Kenny Ortega. And she's like, who? I'm like, he did this. And she's like, okay, and
She's like, my brother's such a film nerd.
uh-huh. I'm like, how did they have that in mind to get him? Like I'm like, why him? This and that. And she's
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of random.
and she's like, it's Disney. They can get the best people. I'm like, I mean, yeah, but they have him.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was. I don't even know how I got here, but it was that's something that happened not too long ago.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't even know how I got here.
I was gonna say, my whole life I've gone to a private Christian school pretty much, and I've, done homeschool a few times. But it always just shocks me how many choices of like classes you have at like public school. Like, people usually think like private school, like, oh, they have better education. Not always, because at least mine was a tiny private school and we had barely any resources. Like our art, at least our arts programs were, I don't know, they were barely art programs in my opinion, but I don't know. They didn't really care that much about art and drama there and stuff. But
Yeah, and I heard that according to a few people, we had one of the better video programs. Um,
yeah, I didn't even, well, we didn't even have a video program at our school. We had one art class that was like could basically be taught by anyone.
Uh-huh.
And kind of a drama class.
Uh,
And our class, like our shows were done in a very tiny auditorium that we just set up like little fold out chairs in front of like a really small stage.
gotcha.
Like barely like I don't even think it was a foot off the ground, to be honest. It was I don't know. We for somebody like me who's really, interested in that stuff and wants to go into art,
Mhm.
I felt a little cheated if I'm going to be honest cuz I didn't really get that good of a, education in that stuff for most of my, you know, uh
Education career.
yeah, my growing up. But I went to, the school we went to and I saw that they had a pottery class and they had a photography class. We didn't have any of that at our school. They had different levels of an art class. We
Mhm.
just had like an art class that just kind of stayed the same every year.
I think, so, like,
It
what
was
I
like
guess,
arts and crafts.
I was going to say, so, like, what I would have done in elementary school, probably.
Yeah, kind of, but like maybe slightly more complicated, but
Oh,
like we
like,
didn't really
oh, I think,
learn anything.
so, like, what I would have done in middle school, where it's like
Yeah, pretty much.
angles and, like, draw these points of views and do this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think I don't know, they got another art teacher that seemed a little bit better.
Mhm.
She actually like taught us about, different elements and techniques and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I don't know. That school cared a lot more about sports and stuff.
Just like
But
most schools.
yeah, but this was like literally like no hardly any art program.
Oh.
But yeah, you guys had what else? Well, for one, the art class seemed a lot more advanced than anything I had ever been in.
Well, there's,
But what was it? Y'all had the, film class, you had sports marketing. Y'all had marketing. Y'all had stuff that I didn't even know they had classes for, to be honest, in like high school.
uh-huh.
I thought I had to wait till college for that.
And it's funny because there's two art, at least when I went, there was two art
Yeah,
teachers,
yeah,
two different
yeah.
art rooms. And when you mentioned photography and pottery, which they classified as ceramics, I actually took both of those classes.
Mhm.
And so I'm a beginner photographer and a
Mhm.
beginner ceramic artist. So I've
That's
got
cool.
I've got a bit of experience. I mean, I'm not the best because
Mhm.
I didn't know how to glaze the pottery properly, and it came out bad. But not to talk about that because, like I said, I began that. I never finished it. I finished video.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so what ended up happening was the following year, I think the new teacher told my friend, asked him if we wanted to help out during, well, yeah, you definitely got to see it because you graduated at the same time that I did.
Mhm.
Um, but before, I'm guessing the year before, like before you even joined the school, you only went for 1 year.
Yeah, senior year.
Um, Before then, I'm not sure if you ever got to see that right next to the scoreboard, there was like a smaller scoreboard.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, that was the main scoreboard for a long time. Um,
Wow. You
and
guys
then
have like biggest. What was it like? Megatron, like
I,
in the state, I think.
I think it was the largest high school scoreboard, I think,
Yeah.
in the state or something like that. I think it was even bigger than some colleges
Dang.
scoreboard. But I got to see that be built. So before they started using it, I think they used it for the year prior's graduation, but just as background, because
Mhm.
they didn't know exactly how it was gonna work and stuff like that. But the teacher told my friends like, "Hey, could you help us do video for that to put it up on the screen?" And he said yes. Told me about it. I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. I'm definitely into that." Um, so the following year, I'm like, "Hey, can I do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, just come to me during this time and so on." I'm like, "Very cool." Um, and how did it all happen? Well, when I started my senior year, I got my schedule, and I only had one semester.
Mhm.
I'm like, cool. um, I don't have too much going on. Just finish this, and I'm finished. And but my mom went and talked to people, and she's like, "How come you have him only doing one semester?" And they're like, "All right, you have one semester. Here's the second semester with dual enrollment for half your day, and I think it was like work based for the other half."
And now you're not even, in college right now. You're working.
Yeah. Well, what I ended up doing is instead of dual enrolling, I dropped that and I put in robotics 2 and ceramics.
Oh, okay.
um, but I mean, as you can see, I went from I could educate myself. I'm like, I can enjoy this last semester. Um, but before I even got to that point, I talked to the teacher. Oh no, I only had one semester. I only had what's it called, one semester in my schedule, and one of the classes there was like I had already taken it. It was like some math class that I had already taken. So I'm like, I want to get my schedule looked at. And the teacher was like, "Oh, I was looking at your schedule. You're one of few who's gonna graduate in December." I'm like, "Yay, yay me!" But then again, if that would have been the case, like I wouldn't be speaking with you today because that was second semester, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Um, whenever you were at that lunch table with,
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, how cute.
um, but um, I want to get that. And then guess who walked in while I was getting my schedule fixed?
Who?
Sports marketing guy,
Yay.
who I stopped. Like I think I never spoke to after that. Like I didn't tell him I wasn't gonna work for him. I think I just like we just stopped going.
Oh my gosh.
But he's like, he's like, oh, what's going on? And they were looking at the thing, and he was the one who said we should make audio video for just for him.
Mhm.
Like they were gonna make a class just for
Mhm.
me.
Oh,
Like there was gonna like
that's
it was
special.
it was gonna be weird, but they ended up not doing that. I think I got some other class. They moved my schedule around and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
I ended up doing video for the big screen for like a few what's it called? A few football games,
Mhm.
and they're like um, he was very thankful, and I think he might have mentioned if I wanted to do work based for him.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, yeah, I'll look into it. And so I did. And to begin with, my final semester, I'd walk after robotics. I'd go to ceramics, and right afterwards, the ceramics room was like um, close. You know where the art rooms were, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and you know how far they were from like your room and that other area there, that other
Yes.
building.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like I had to do one large walk from the very top building all the way down there, but then it's
Oh,
like
sh-
from there was just one small walk to the video room in there, and
yeah.
that's all I had to do. I got well, I had to get him to sign in, and then so well no, I walked like I had just go in and out and like throughout the day, and then on Fridays I'd be like, hey, can you sign this week's please? And then he just fill out, all right, 3 o'clock, or what was it? Like, let's say 12 o'clock to 3:25. And then I'd go turn it in, like, look, I worked.
Mhm.
But for him, unlike the other people who just played Uno, I had to work. Like, he took his stuff seriously.
Mhm.
And other people were, would bring in VHS tapes.
Mhm.
I think earlier I mentioned VHS, but I might have said VCR. To anybody still listening, I meant VHS. I think, unless I'm messing up now. um, what was oh they'd bring them in and we have to make them into DVDs, and it would
Mhm.
help out the video program. So it'd be like rewind the tape, press play, and let it roll. Like it's not like nowadays where you upload a video file to your computer, can drag it over to a flash drive, and it's done within seconds.
Mhm.
The video had to play throughout for it to convert into DVD. So it'd be going in every day, putting in the tape, and just watching it, make sure that there's no errors or anything.
Mhm.
And while that happened, I'm like, I can do other stuff. I'm in here, I'm working, but I can do other stuff. I can take advantage of the situation I'm in where I'm working, and
Mhm.
which gave me liberty to do anything. And they gave us a work-based card where we could leave campus if we wanted to, or if we needed to go work.
Mhm.
I didn't need to, but I still got one regardless, which helped me eventually. Um, but while that was going on, like I think I was in there for two classes. Like while people
Mhm.
will switch classes, I was still in that room, and I was in there for I think what was audio video 3 or 2. I think it was
Mhm.
audio video. No, it was audio. It's definitely audio video 3 and audio video 1. And I knew, I think I might have known 1 or 2 people in the first level,
Mhm.
not in the third level, but I knew like a few more of the first level because they were my brother's friends. Um, what's it called? So I'm like, okay, first one, I don't know many people, but they're actually, the teacher would make them write scripts and do like actual video stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, this is fascinating. I want to learn how this is done. Like this is what I would have wished to have learned. Um, and then I think I followed one group, and I'm like, can I just go with you guys one day? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And one day they're like, do you want to act in this? We need another character. And they're gonna make me one of the guy. It was, I think it's like a murder, like a horror story, a horror
Ooh.
movie, and I was gonna be one of the guys that was killed or something like that. I don't remember how it, or like how the original script went. There was 2 versions, one that we didn't get to finish, or and one that we one that was rewritten
Mhm.
to so we could make it a lot faster.
Mhm.
And they were gonna make me one of the guys that I think was killed, and then the guy who was doing the killer was like wasn't like he's a great person. I know him, and he might even be listening to this.
Mhm.
But he wasn't the best killer
Mhm.
in the eyes of the director.
Mhm.
And I'm like, let me just try to help him to like I think I would try to give him hints like, you should come out like this, do this, that, and the other. Almost like if I was directing it, but
Uh-huh.
I was just there supporting them because they were the ones actually getting graded.
Yeah.
While I'm working for the teacher, I'm like,
Trying to help a friend
I'm,
out.
I'm like, hey, can I go with him? He's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, cool. And then they're like, oh, you should do it, blah blah blah. And that was when I had my long, luxurious hair.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I did that. I became, I guess, the main star of the film, apart from the female co-lead or whatever the official title would be called. Um, it was just us, like it was about me killing blah blah blah, but that got me a credit in the Internet Movie Database.
Oh.
And because of that same teacher, which I'm very grateful for, um, I had written a script that I was going to do for a robotics competition because the robotics the technology Student Association, I think,
Mm-hmm.
had video incorporated into their thing. I was gonna do it, and I'm like, okay, I've got to like March to film it and everything, and February came, and they're like, you need to turn it in today. I'm like, I haven't finished. I've been busy doing all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had a script there, and one day I asked the teacher, hey, could you look at the script? And he's like, yeah, sure. I think soon after he's like, I don't get it. What was it about? And I'm like, oh, it's. Let me try to basically explain what the plot was. Uh, a video crew goes to school because their shows, I think it was called American Frauds, and they would go around looking for frauds and so on and so forth, and try to expose them or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they went to this school because I mean I'm like I'm filming this at school because that's the only time and place I have access to video equipment and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's about a person who's living in a school, pretending to be a teacher or a student or something, but they live there, and then their family reported him for being a compulsive liar, like like he had issues and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out, like, to spoil my own ending for my movie, for my short film, um, the guy, whenever they interviewed his mom, his dad, his brother, uh, it was him the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So he was even lying about being his parents, and even an anonymous source who told the producers, the like, video people, that he was a liar was him himself.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, I'm like, that's hilarious. And I just had that script, and then I explained that to him. I'm like, he's like, I don't get it. What's going on? Why are all these people doing that? I'm like, no, it's all two people: the reporter and the guy being himself, his mom, his dad, his
Oh my god.
brother. And he's like, that's like, he's like, oh, I get it now. And then he contacted actors. He contacted two actors, and then I directed my own film.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So I'm very grateful for that. So on the Internet Movie Database, IMDb, I'm credited as a director, writer, um, actor, and I think that's
Oh
about
my
it.
gosh, that's so cool.
So if I ever actually do anything bigger, I'm gonna be like, hey, link it to that one. That one's me. And
People
for
can see your first film.
yeah, and for the poster for the one that I acted in,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's got the title of the movie, but like it's my face, like.
Oh my gosh,
So that's my first credits. I think they all went in at once.
that's so cool.
um and not only that, but the ones that I'm not credited for, but people will know it's me. They're not released to the public yet, at least I don't think so. But for the soccer team, since I was with them for 3 years, I made videos for them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, not only did I record their games, but like, I think I made two videos at the end. One was a highlight of, I think, all their goals, or a majority of their goals, and one was um, a more fun video.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to give thanks to my friend Jose, who was the one who I think did the editing for the final year's goal video. Like, he put them all together, he did the music and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful for that, because that opened me up to be able to do the whole fun video for my, like, by myself. And
That's so cool.
I think it was the second year,
Mm-hmm.
like, of me recording with them. I'm like, I'm gonna take this more seriously, and I'm gonna actually, like, instead of just being like, okay, we're gonna kick it here, and where would that go? Oh, that'd go towards that other building. All right, let's go over there and film where it would be over there. I'm like, no, let me write this down. Let me see where things would go. And I planned it ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
and I did it according to that. And I'm like, perfect. Third year, that's what I'm gonna do again. I'm gonna be like from here to there. And then the new video teacher who came in my third year recording for the team, and I'm like, okay, I have access to a bit better stuff now, because the old teacher had bad cameras. New teacher came in, higher quality cameras, higher quality equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and he had drones.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, this is perfect. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
um, I had to do some practice through a virtual drone, like on a computer. I eventually was able to pass the training, the
Yeah, don't
teach.
you have to get like training to fly a drone or something?
Well, the school drone I think was a bit different. I had to pass the teacher's requirements, which
Oh,
was
okay.
like passing, like doing sharp turns and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I eventually was able to pass it and break records, time records on there.
Dang.
Um, but I'm like, okay, cool, I got this. I mean, sure, I'm not sure if he's gonna listen to this, but I don't think he's got a problem if I mention him by first name. Juan, I'm still mad at you for breaking that one record that I couldn't beat again, because I had gotten one record and then he went in and overtook it, and I'm like, I've got to beat it, and then he beat it. He beat his own record, and I'm like, there's no way I'm beating that. I'm pretty sure it was him, and I'm still kind of
God damn
upset
it,
about
Juan.
that.
Come on, man.
But yeah, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's gonna be like this. I'm gonna do the video with a drone now because I have access to a drone. I'm gonna get it flying over here, flying over there, flying with the blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna record it during these 2 days. Day
Mm-hmm.
one, it rains.
Oof.
I can't fly a drone in the rain, and my whole
Man.
video is set outside.
So
I'm like, I'll wait till tomorrow. It's gonna be a problem. It rained.
again?
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's the last day I had, and I couldn't film everybody. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna film it in the gym.
Yo. That's kind of fire.
And I'm like, I don't have a normal camera. I brought a drone with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the big gym, it was a small gym. I'm not sure if
Oh.
you ever got to go in there.
No, but my sister had a class in there. She's told me about it.
Well, there's it's relatively small, not the biggest. But what's it called? Give me a second. Um, it's relatively small, not too much, but I mean it's big enough where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need these people over here, these people over there, and so on and so forth. I'm like, okay, kick it from up there and make it go down. And
So you
like
flew it in the gym?
I flew it in the gym.
Oh my god.
And this is where it gets better. Hold on. Let me sort of explain how I did it, and then the surprise I had afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm like, okay, it's gonna go from the balcony from the second level down. I'll fly the drone up there, and then boom, turn it around, and then I'll cut it to the person getting it at the bottom. I mean, obviously, I used video editing. It's not like they were gonna do it perfectly throughout the whole gym and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I think while it was uh, people were in the second level, I think passing it with their heads back and forth. Um, like you could see where the rails were, and you could tell like they got something to go up there. Like there's no way that there's a person standing on a very tall ladder moving it in that general direction like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we finished recording it, and during I think it was the senior night for soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was gonna be one of the first few times that they're gonna do the same thing that they did for football, which
Mm-hmm.
was putting live video from the bottom up on the screen. And I was working for the teacher. I'm like, I guess I could do it down there. I just asked Jose, my friend, to record from above because we obviously had to get our own footage that the coach wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was with like, instead of just being in a different direction, I was with the video teacher.
Uh-huh.
And at halftime, I'm like, they play music during halftime. I'm like, that
Yeah.
song sounds familiar. I turn to the screen. They're playing my video.
Oh my gosh.
Keep in mind, the video teacher knows that I had the drone and I made a video.
Uh-huh.
He never seen the product.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, you flew the drone in the gym? Yeah. He wasn't gonna say no.
Yeah, there's
I
literally proof right there.
I'm like, no, we're gonna say I know I picked it up, I got on the ladder and I moved it like that so it looked very cool. No. I'm like, no, yeah. He's like, oh, it's cool.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, like the fear I got like within
Yeah.
those few moments. I'm like, oh no, oh no.
Oh my god.
And the thing that surprises me the most, and I hope I never forget. I recorded them playing my video up on the screen.
Oh my gosh.
But I wish I would have also recorded around because the players, instead of like getting warmed up to begin again or stuff like that, because it was like 3 minutes before the second half began. Instead of getting ready and stuff like that, they had never seen the product, so they were looking at the screen.
Oh my gosh.
The away players were looking at the screen. I'm not exaggerating when I say just about everybody was looking at the screen.
Wow.
And then it ended, and I guess in a way, humbling myself, never put my name at the end of those videos. I'm like, it's about the team. It's not about me. I make
Yeah.
the videos. They're the ones who put in the effort.
I mean, you should still be proud of that, though. That's a big thing to have your video played in front of, because that, you know.
Well,
Wait, so at a football game?
no, it was a soccer game. It didn't have
Oh,
that many
soccer.
people.
Still.
But I mean, I honestly, I genuinely heard a lot of people clapping,
Dang.
and it's just something that I'm never gonna forget because it's
That was like your first time seeing like just random people watch your
yeah,
stuff that you produced.
and they didn't know it was me.
Wow.
Like the players knew it was me. They were there while I recorded it and everything. But like, it gave me like, wow, people enjoy what I do.
Dang. That's so cool, dude.
Um, I mean, I'll send you a video of it being on the screen and everything.
Yes, please do. I want to see it.
But keep in mind, I was like right next to it, so it's like I started it with like 2017 because the way I started it was I'm like, it's my last year with them.
Mhm.
This is the way of me saying goodbye from
Mhm.
me. I'm like 2017, I put the intro I used for then. 2018, the video I used for then. 2019, and then start the video.
Mhm.
And then when I turned, it was because I put 2019 slow motion and stuff, and I'm like, okay. And while I'm editing, I'm like, that would look cool. They're going to show it during their soccer banquet and whatnot. And then I turned around 2019. I'm like, oh my, look at that.
Wow.
This is my final piece, and
That's so weird.
it's it was a great ending to a great experience.
Dang.
And
That's the kind of stuff I wish my school, like the opportunities I wish I could have gotten at my old school. I mean, we had a few I guess I think we had what's her name? The lady who voiced the Little Mermaid. I think came to like one or two of our shows. But yeah,
cool.
that was about it.
Well, I mean, that's something. I mean, a lot of people would.
I mean, yeah. I think she actually thought about sending her kids to that school, but decided not to. But
I wonder why.
yeah, I don't know honestly, but you know, they ended up, you know, going to where we went, so that was cool.
Okay.
Mhm.
But I guess that's how we conclude episode 4. Oh, and I'll talk to you in a second, but we'll say goodbye to the listening audience.
Goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye. See ya soon because things happen and we can't control it.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.